The next day we went to the railroad station. We bought tickets and said goodbye to the people who had been so helpful to us. I didn't know their names, but we couldn't have made it without their help. They were such a nice people, and they pushed us in the right direction. So we bought our tickets and headed to Tashkent. Of course, the trains were overcrowded. There wasn't any place to sit down. So we stood. We almost fainted from exhaustion and hunger. Eventually, some people got off at different stations, and we were able to lie down on the plank beds. At some point during our journey, my friend's backpack was stolen, with his money and his ticket inside. We didn't lament losing the money, but losing his ticket. So we had to get off the train because without tickets, we could have been arrested. And I didn't want to travel by myself. It happened near Alma-Ata. We didn't know what to do next, so we got off the train and went to a lake. We washed ourselves. Put our clothes back on and thought about what to do next. We had to find something to eat. We walked around and looked into the huts, hoping to steal some food. We were lucky. We found a hut, waited, and when we were sure that there was no one around to see us, we stole 2 loaves of bread. It wasn't good bread, because it was a Kazakh's household. But when you're really hungry, you will eat anything. We ate it, and we went back to the station, and we searched the train cars. We were looking for something else to eat, but there wasn't any food. In one car, there was something that looked like a grape. We thought it was a grape, but it wasn't. It was castor oil, but we ate it anyway. When you are that hungry, you will eat anything. And later, we had stomach problems. We bought a ticket, boarded a new train, and arrived at Alma-Ata by way of Frunze and Tashkent. We got off the train in Tashkent and saw Polish soldiers at the railroad station. We asked them if the Polish army was nearby. They said yes, in Yangayul, maybe 8 miles from here, from Tashkent. General Anders' staff is there, and when you present yourselves, they will accept you. I wanted to go there immediately, even by foot. But my friend said, "No, Pawel, wait. We will go tomorrow morning. There will be a train. It will take us at 8 o'clock in the morning. We will go by train." We went to a park. The entire park was crowded with people, all fugitives from the west and the north, going to warmer places. So we sat under a tree in this park. We lied down, and I was robbed. They took my backpack, which held the rest of my things. A thief put a knife to my throat. I didn't say anything, because he could have killed me. He didn't hurt me, though. He only took my backpack. He wasn't alone. There were a few of them. After that, we couldn't sleep. We waited until the morning. In the morning, we went back to the train station, took a train, and in half an hour, we were in Yangayul. The train station in Yangayul was a rallying point for the Polish army. Maybe 15 people had already gathered there. An officer gave us a form to fill in, data like our date of birth, where in Poland we were from, and so on. So we filled in the forms, and the next day, in the morning, we were given orders to go to Samarkand. From Samarkand, it wasn't easy because the trains were overcrowded. We had to travel as a group to get to Guzar together. Guzar was the big rallying point for the Polish army. And there were also a lot of civilians. And there they gave us our uniforms. Somehow we got to Samarkand. And there we were so surprised. They gave us food. Even sausages. Polish sausages. I hadn't eaten these for over 2 years. So they gave us a little food for the road. And we went to a place called Kagan. Nobody was traveling in this direction. It was in the direction of the Chinese border, the Pamir Mountains, and so close to the Chinese border. We saw the Himalayas. How those mountains seemed higher and higher the closer we got to them. So we got to Kagan. And from there we had to walk maybe 6 miles to another rallying point. Eventually we arrived. They lined us up, and Lieutenant Kokoshinsky, and Lieutenant Kwela, a doctor, both from a special battalion, were recruiting young people like me. I wasn't even 18 years old yet. But they were recruiting young people for a special battalion of parachutists. A special battalion with special orders. So we stood in line, and Lieutenant Kokoshinsky, I knew him well. He fought and died in the Battle of Monte Cassino. He asked who wanted to volunteer to be in the special battalion for parachutists. I wanted to get in the army so badly. I was shouting, "I want to!" All I went through, all of those tragedies, misfortunes, and terrible conditions I experienced during my years in Siberia, my travels to get to General Andrew's army, I can only say that it was a miracle that I survived. Somebody had to have been watching over me. Maybe it was God. But to this day, I think that it was my mother watching over me. I think that she was taking care of me the entire time. I went through such dangerous times and places that I should have died long before I fought in the Battle of Monte Cassino.